Aka na-agba nwanne ọwanyadu, aka na-agba nwanne ọwanyadu, aka ekpe ka mma tinye n'agba, aka nri ka mma tinye n'agba, nke ka gị mma itinye n'agba, nke na-agba nwanne ọwanyadu. So the thing that I want to talk about today is just a reminder to folks, especially those who hate others for nothing, those who are easily driven or overshadowed by prejudice and stereotypes. I do not discount your beliefs, I do not minimize whatever serves you. But please, 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 my invitation for you is to be sure that your beliefs, your actions, especially in relation to reaction to things around ethnicity, racism, religion, and things like that. Human beings are human beings are inherently selfish. Let me put it that way. People love themselves. So sometimes, if it helps, please reframe what you call hate, reframe what you call tribalism. I understand this. I mean, I'm just saying for the main part, especially for those who have not had any lived experience, any direct experience of these things. You don't hate a people or a tribe or members of one group that are different than you simply because you had something, simply because you've even seen something. Because at the end of the day, whether you're from a collectivist culture or predominantly individualistic thinking culture, people are going to be humans. Individuals are going to be individuals. People are individuals first. All right, that means they have different perspectives, different experiences and views. So sometimes all this hate is just some sort of follow syndrome, right? Like, oh, I know somebody from my tribe who is mostly politicians or journalists or people in public spaces, celebrities and so on. So usually you fight their fight for them. You just get into that, and they influence your thoughts and views, but you never had a direct experience of those things. Okay, I am Igbo, very Igbo, very Igbo. I spent a lot of time. I lived in Lagos. I experienced people who didn't like me, who didn't give me a chance. But I also experienced people who lavished me with love. Some of them are Hausa, some of them are Igbo, some of them are Yorubas. People are people. People are good not because of their ethnic identity, by the way, or any cultural identity. And by cultural identity, I mean all of these classifications we use to group people, whether as gender, place of origin, nationality, place of residence, age, educational status, marital status, just anything, any gender expression as well, religion, ethnicity. All of these are convenience, are classifications that we're socially constructed, so people are grouped. What makes a person is their character. And you probably don't know someone until you have experienced the person. Let people show you who they are by their individual character. Yes, of course, I know groups of people are likely to behave in certain way. That also is a function of their experiences, sometimes their collective trauma. People respond from self-preservation, self-survival. Now, let me put it this way. For some of you, it may help to do this. Instead of saying that Yoruba hate Igbos, or Igbos hate Yorubas, or Hausas and Fulanis, all of that, how about you reframe it and say, Fulani loves Fulani? Even with the colonial masters. Let me tell you, when they came, the British, the colonists or whatever, the people that colonized Nigeria, for example, who are incidentally colonized a large number of other countries as well. They didn't come, it's not a love or hate relationship, it's a survival thing. They thought to themselves, how would they survive? They love themselves. They love British interests. So now they don't. It's not even like Britain love Fulani or love the people that won the war. They just love British interests, and they found that anybody that was in the way of British interests becomes not a British friend. You can call it an enemy or anything, but quite frankly, see it from Britain, loving Britain and the British interests. Okay, so that way to help you reframing this hatred phenomenon, reframing it might help you to now think of creative ways that you can engage others. So when a Yoruba man is changing a plan, or like the stereotypes we have about them that they can change at any time. Yes, when they're changing at any time, I reframe it as them the same goal. The goal is still for Yoruba to survive, for Yoruba loving themselves. So if it helps, don't keep permanent enemies. Permanent interests. Permanent interests. Whether in business, in all of this, is permanent interests. Okay, so rather than fall to hate and all of these things, and then lose opportunities and lose the things you would have benefited if you had I would suggest you reframe it as see people as trying to survive, and they're doing it the best way they can. Some are selfish, some will follow the rules, some will go against the rules. Yeah. So when that's the case, so that way you're able to define what the true problem is. And I beg to say this too. Indeed, in my 5 decades of life, it is my perception that there are two tribes: those who have versus those who don't have. Look at it. Those who in the context of Nigeria, it will be those who have money and whose money comes from corrupt government operations, from politics, versus those who don't. Because not all rich people, there are amazing rich people. There are also amazing and rich politicians. But those who benefit from corrupt practices are the ones who belong to one tribe, and the others. They and others. Because ultimately, how do you even explain to me, personally, living in a compound in Ukwebi with Yorubas, the people that can go into their homes, I'm hungry and I eat in their house. I can trust my life in their hands that they will not kill me, and I sleep and work for years. Also, of a sudden, you're not telling me that they're my enemy. There are enemies everywhere. In fact, let me tell you, even in your tribe, in whatever your ancestral tribe is, your ethnicity, or there are people from the same family who don't talk to. In fact, they would rather talk with strangers, talk with a foreigner, or sleep in the same house with a foreigner than their own member of their own family. So it's not really a tribe. A good person is a good person. A bad person is a bad person. Okay. Now, have there been an agenda in the context of Nigeria, where there is marginalizations targeting Igbos? There is, of course, but what's the outcome? When you're persecuting someone and frustrating someone, inadvertently, sometimes without even knowing it, you're propelling the one person to success. And that's why, despite all the experiences, the tough challenges that Igbos are going through and have gone through, they still manage to survive in some aspects, especially in the area of money and things like that. Because necessity is the mother of invention. When you frustrate them, when you demolish their houses, when you lie and, just to disprivilege them to privilege yourself, well, you may get the thing, but it doesn't sustain. In the end, you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, you're not even safe, because you're worried about whether the person you stole his stuff is going to come back for it. So I think it's possible to live and let live. Okay? I personally have been helped by people of all tribes. Personally, this is my own lived experience. In fact, if anybody have duped me, like I suffer, I've suffered some terrible, terrible losses and wickedness. Even recently, those have been Igbo to Igbo. I mean, there's some people, but I choose to see, well, because of the situation that we are in, the misunderstanding, I would rather vote for whatever produces more unity, even if it means me enduring pain. I can go and, lock up the fellow or and his family, and, but there are complications that those things might result. And anyway, people to their stuff. I have personally experienced amazing help from Yoruba people, for example. And I can tell you a few. I was serving in Ilori. I went for Ilori. I served in Ilori 1997, 98 service here. And for those of you who know, oh, beautiful place, beautiful place. I hope it's still the same as it was there. Amazing community, affordable potatoes and food. All right. But right there in Ilori, there's a man. God bless him. There is a man called Bode Amo. He's a reverend, barrister, Bode Amo. He is a pastor. I think he founded what's called the Dominion Assembly, Dominion Church. And Pastor, please, if you are hearing from me, if you ever get to see this video, please, I am still grateful. I am still grateful for the things that you impacted in me. A Yoruba man, he took me like family, him and his entire family, household. If I asked for anything, he was willing to give it. In fact, at the point, because I did a small group counseling program where I did group counseling for students in secondary schools. And I was addressing the intervention was for folks who were at risk of exam malpractice. So we figured that there are some students who were experiencing examination anxiety, and who, not that they're not smart, they prepare for exam, but because of anxiety and fear, they either don't perform well or don't engage in practices that otherwise they wouldn't. So I thought we could design a program to help such students. And I was going around schools in a lot. Eventually, I developed the intervention and workbook that I was using into a book, and as a national, what is it called? National Youth Service Community Project. That project even won me the state award, NYSC state award for that year. All right, and it was successful. But now here's the thing: I wanted to. Like, okay, I don't just want to launch this book. I want to launch this book, but I also want to make money. I have folks in my in my friendship group who, there's a group called the NCCF, yeah, National Corpus Christian Fellowship. I had a bunch of friends in there who were helping me. We planned a launch, and it was successful. Guess what? It was Pastor Bode Amo who helped me. I said, sir, I'm looking for a chief launcher. I have already gone to every Igbo shop that was in Ilorin and around, sent invitations, and I was supported, heavily supported. You know how Igbos crowd support, right? They supported me. And then, but I wanted somebody from native Yoruba as well in that area. So I met two people. This might be a little long, but let me find a way to summarize the story. I went to Chief Yusuf Ali. He's a son, senior advocate now. He wasn't a senior advocate at the time. And Wale Olanipeku, also a senior advocate. Now, these are heavy Nigerian, legal luminaries, right? But through the help of Reverend Bode Amo, he gave me the contacts. I went to I wrote letters. I'm laughing because I remember the reply from these two people. Wala Olanipeku's office, I said, in my letter, I said, I have a very important project. He's helping the community. He's making changes. He's positioning students for better performance, better academic performance. And he did reply the letter, though. He said, as positive or as good as your program sounds and support you, I am not providing any money assistance. I made several trips to his office, but I was happy. He gave me at least he responded. I didn't know he would later become, senior national figure. Or he probably was at the time, but I didn't just know how much significance personality he was at the time. Okay, so I learned a lot of things from that single reply from him. Not only that, Yusuf Ali, who later became the chief launcher at the time, I'm talking of, I remember he gave me 25,000 naira. I've never seen that type of money at the time. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen 25,000 as my own. Yusuf Ali did it. The first person to give me that type of money for that kind of project. Okay, he sent a representative. These things are recorded. I still have the video. If I search very well, I see the videos. It was state television, NTA, Kwara State TV as well. They all covered that event. So Yusuf Ali, so give me money. He didn't even know who I am. I just went to him and said, "Oh God, this is what I'm doing, and this is who have benefited. Please support me in this project." He gave me. I wanted to launch my book, and that's how I published the book. I'm saying this to say that those seeds that he planted, because he built my confidence that I was successful, I was able to do that, and that helped me to build other successes in Yoruba. That will not permit me to mention everybody's name, but I've been helpful. I've met amazing people, both as clients, as family service providers. In fact, I have a young man who has been with, we work together. Shola Bello, psychologist as well. Okay, Bello is one of the most, in fact, his family, let me put it that way. His family. I can sleep in the same room with Bello and close my eyes, not fearing anything. But there are people that are from my village that I've never been in the same house with, not to talk of sleeping, because, not that I'm afraid, but I'm just saying that that's how close we are. And still are. For more than 16 years, he was a lawyer. He was was working in my office, in my office. So we're colleagues and friends. He wasn't the only one. There are many others I can vouch for at any time. Yoruba. I've also seen friends that are houses and different Nigerians of all various different ancestors, ethnic backgrounds. I've seen excellent Igbo family and friends. So people are not good because of their tribe they come from. People are good because they choose to. Or they have, experiences have helped them become good. Okay, so I know that I can fight for Igbo, the restoration of the dignity of the Igbo. I can pursue and advocate for Biafra, an independent nation of Biafra, without hating others. That's my point. That's where I differ with some approaches that people use. I'm saying, we can pursue a cause for equity, for justice for the Igbo. I believe that there should be reparations. I believe that Nigeria should compensate Igbos for failing to implement the 3 R's, which has positioned us for the troubles we have. We are people in recovery, Igbos in general. Post-war Igbos did not receive rehabilitation. Neither were there any strategic, consistent way of ending discrimination or managing what I call, you may call it complex, superiority complex on the part of those who won the war, and inferiority complex on those on the complications that came with that, So subconsciously, there is this thing about losing. And when someone is constantly reminding you of that loss and constantly exposing you to trauma reminders, constantly re-traumatizing you, it affects the brain, it affects your behavior. So Nigerians who are angry about some of excesses, some of our brothers who are doing, maybe not coming across who come across as arrogant or boastful or overly loud, don't even realize how much they have a share in producing the post-war Igbos that they have today. Post-war Igbos and the children of the direct casualties of the war and the children's children are different from the Igbos who didn't experience that destructive, divisive starvation war. This thing has consequences not only financially and physically, psychologically and emotionally. So the Igbos in general, and I can discuss this in another space, Igbos in general are people in recovery. So what they need is understanding, love and care, empathy, not that. But again, some people may say, it's not our responsibility to do that, but that's okay as well. I'm just saying overall, let's give everybody a fair chance to be the best they can be, to contribute their own quota. You can't say you want an indivisible united nation of Nigeria when you know from your heart that you don't mean it. When you know that you don't want to share citizenship, you don't want them to be equal with you. You know it. You know that the best thing for you is regionalism. You want to be able to practice your culture, have your king tell you what to do, or share, practice what is inherent in your tradition and culture. You don't want other people from other regions to come to your native region and vote as they want, maybe changing the political dynamics of your natural region. You know that, then it means you know that the current structure of governance that we have is not the best for that kind of goal. If you want to retain regional privileges, if you want to retain feudal or oligarchical, monarchical privileges that are, you want people of a region, people to stay back in their regions and be as powerful and have more rights than non-natives, then what we need is a regional system of government. Because you can't federalize resources. In fact, Nigeria wants to be up and down at the same time, and you really can't. You can't say we are equal, we are one nation, and then some people can vote, some people cannot vote freely. That's not fair. You can't do that. Okay? So there's a guilt trip. There's this thing about people accepting that in the Southeast, the fun Southeast, are being treated like spoil of war. So people want to retain, want to federalize the resources from the Southeast, share the resources as national allocation, but fail to equalize citizenship. It won't work. It's just like trying to run one country with two constitutions. You have a Sharia, you have a common law. That's confusion. Because Sharia alone unequals citizenship. One law says it's okay to drink alcohol, one law says you can't. So this one produces alcohol for sale, this one destroys it. Both goes to court. One court says it's right. Confusion. You can't have a patriotic equal. So regionalism is the thing. And that, I believe, is what most Nigerians want. That's what they want. The only problem is they're afraid. I don't know if it's afraid, but people want to retain resources that are in their own region and not want to federalize it, but want the resources in the foreign Southeast region to continue to. Sometimes that's what it means. Common sense. Sometimes that's how it comes across, like, oh, let's continue to share the resources, but stay in the region. In other words, we won the war, you are a spoil of war, you are slaves. But that's changing, that's difficult. That's difficult to live a reality of that for a long time, especially when those who experienced the war, who lost the war, are no more. We have a new generation of young Igbos who are not happy to take that. They want equality. So if you look at the Igbos, are just basically asking to be treated as anyone else. I don't have to score higher in JAMB than others. The people that just came out of the war. You impose some kind of phantom, educationally advantaged mantra. It's false. They lost millions of people in the war. Okay? And they just came out. best minds of Igbos just gone. They're starting all over again. Yet you're imposing a higher jump requirement for years. That disprivileged a lot of us, in particular myself. And I'm very angry about that because I wanted to be a lawyer. I never passed jam enough to get into law program. So when I see, people who are judges today and lawyers today, I kind of imagine myself in that, like, this is probably who I would have become. Not that I regret where I am. I'm grateful to God for where I am now. But that's this privilege. Okay. So please, in summary, I'm just saying we should be kind to one another. We can agree to disagree agreeably. We can practice federalism through federalism. We can practice regionalism so that kings will have authority in their domains and religious Sharia and all the religious laws can hold in those regions. But we can also grant a referendum. Let those who want to go. Because you can't refuse regionalism and refuse federalism and refuse exit simply because this current system benefits you. Okay? So, and when people say, go and vote, no, even if Igbos don't even have enough vote. We didn't come to Nigeria as states. We came to Nigeria as regions, 4 regions. So there were 4 votes. 4 votes. So collapsing Nigeria into this and thinking that, oh, these people are more popular is a function of war. It's because of war and military power that they used to do that thing. It's like saying, okay, let's have a United States of Africa. And then you say South Africa, and let the people that have more population. Nigeria will always win any election you do in the United States of Africa because of the numbers. But South Africa may be contributing more to the economy or something, so it doesn't quite work. We came not as individuals or as states, we came as regions. Don't forget that. It was the imposition of military policies and decrees that the military imposed state structure. And those military decisions and decrees and all these constitutions that derive from it did not quite represent the Southeast because they lost. They were losers. They were not in the decision-making table much. All right, so let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's give Igbos a chance and you accept them or let them go. We are not enemies. Okay, so I believe that it's possible. Let's make a choice. It can't be up and down at the same time. Thank you.